Have you ever wondered why some long-term marriages, which once felt like a strong partnership, can slowly transform into something marked by frustration, distance, or a quiet, simmering resentment? It's a painful reality for many couples. After decades together, a woman might look at her husband and wonder, how did we get here? Why do so many women, after years of love and partnership, find themselves feeling disconnected, exhausted, or even resentful toward the person they chose to build a life with? In this video, we are going to have an honest and compassionate conversation about this unspoken shift. We will explore 7 of the most common, deep-rooted reasons why this happens. These patterns often develop so gradually that they go unnoticed for years, until one day the warmth is gone. Our goal today is not to place blame, but to bring understanding and validation. By recognizing these patterns, we can see our relationships, past and present, more clearly. And for many, that clarity is the first step toward healing and reconnection. One of the most significant reasons resentment builds is the immense, often invisible, weight of emotional labor. This isn't just about physical chores. It's the unseen mental and emotional work that holds a family and a marriage together. It's remembering the birthdays, scheduling the appointments, managing the social calendar, and being the one to soothe conflicts. For decades, this role has disproportionately fallen on women. When this monumental effort goes without acknowledgement or appreciation, year after year, the exhaustion turns into resentment. Take Carol, 72. For her entire marriage, she managed everything, raising children, working, and ensuring her husband's life ran smoothly. Looking back, she realized no one had ever done the same for her. Her husband never once asked if she needed help or truly thanked her for the countless things she did. After decades, she didn't feel love anymore. She felt depleted. What makes emotional labor so damaging is its invisibility. A woman can spend her life ensuring everything is perfect, and if her partner never sees or acknowledges that effort, he will never understand why she has grown distant. She hasn't suddenly changed. She has simply reached her limit. Over time, many women begin to feel that they are living with a roommate rather than a husband. The passion, excitement, and deep connection of the early years can fade if a relationship is not actively nurtured. What's left is a partnership. That feels more like 2 people, coexisting under the same roof. This shift is gradual. It starts with fewer deep conversations. Then routine takes over, until one day she realizes they are living parallel lives. They might eat together and watch TV in the same room, but the intimacy, both emotional and physical, is gone. She no longer feels seen or desired. Linda, 69, remembers when she and her husband used to laugh and share their dreams. Over time, the conversations grew shorter. He stopped asking about her day. The worst part? He didn't even seem to notice the change. To him, nothing was wrong, but to her, everything was. This happens because many men assume that once they are married, the work is done. They forget that a relationship requires ongoing effort. A woman needs to feel wanted, appreciated, and engaged. When a husband stops making that effort, he slowly turns into someone his wife begins to resent, because she feels emotionally abandoned. One of the most corrosive forces in a marriage is the slow accumulation of unresolved conflicts. Small arguments, disappointments, and emotional wounds that were never truly addressed don't just disappear. They build up, layer by layer, creating a wall of deep-seated resentment. It often starts with small things: a dismissive comment, a forgotten anniversary, a broken promise. A woman might let it go thinking it's not worth the fight. But over the years, these small hurts pile up. Patricia, 74, had been married for over 40 years. She remembered every time her feelings had been dismissed, every promise unkept. When she tried to bring up her frustrations, they were brushed aside with phrases like, "You're overreacting," or "That was years ago." Over time, she stopped trying, and she stopped seeing her husband as someone who cared about her feelings. When a man repeatedly ignores or minimizes his wife's concerns, he sends a clear message. Her feelings don't matter. That kind of emotional neglect builds resentment like nothing else. Many men mistake a woman's silence for peace, when in reality, it is often a sign that she has simply given up trying to be heard. As we age, our priorities and desires evolve. For many women, once the children are grown and the household is settled, they enter a new chapter. They may crave personal growth, new experiences, travel, or deeper emotional connections. The resentment builds when her husband remains stuck in the same old routines, unwilling to grow with her. For years, a woman may have put her own dreams on hold for her family. Now, she looks around and realizes something is missing. If her husband expects the same dynamic as 30 years ago, she can feel trapped in a life that no longer fulfills her. Helen, 68, wanted to travel and take up new hobbies in her retirement. But her husband was content to sit in front of the TV every evening, dismissing her ideas. He didn't realize that while he was happy, she wasn't. A woman who spent her life putting others first begins to realize no one is doing the same for her. When she wants to grow and her husband refuses to evolve with her, she begins to see him not as a partner, but as an obstacle holding her back from the life she now wants to live. One of the most painful reasons for resentment is the slow, undeniable loss of affection. When the hugs, the small touches, the thoughtful compliments, and the playful flirtation disappear, a woman can feel deeply unwanted and unloved. Many husbands grow comfortable and forget that affection is a necessity for keeping love alive. The change is often a slow fade. Sharon, 71, remembered when she and her husband used to hold hands. Now, he barely looked at her the same way. When she brought it up, his response was, "We're too old for that now." In that moment, she realized he didn't see the problem at all. What many men don't understand is that affection is about emotional security. A woman never stops wanting to feel beautiful, adored, and valued. When a husband stops showing affection, it doesn't just make a woman feel lonely, it makes her feel invisible, and that is one of the deepest wounds a marriage can inflict. The resentment is not about a decrease in intimacy, but the lack of effort to stay emotionally connected at all. One of the deepest sources of resentment is the feeling of being taken for granted. After decades of giving, sacrificing, and showing love, a woman may realize that her efforts are no longer noticed or appreciated. What she once did out of love has become an unspoken expectation. At the beginning of a relationship, there is often gratitude. But as years pass, many husbands stop acknowledging the everyday efforts. The shift from being appreciated to being expected is what slowly turns love into resentment. Nancy, 72, had taken care of her household for years. She made her husband's favorite meals. She kept the home in order. She handled all the little things. But over time, he never said thank you anymore. A thoughtful gesture was met with silence, as if it was simply her job. That feeling of being invisible in her own marriage was devastating. Resentment doesn't happen because of one big event. It happens because of 1,000 small moments of feeling unappreciated. When a woman no longer feels valued, she begins to emotionally withdraw. Not to punish her husband, but because she simply has nothing left to give. Finally, one of the most heartbreaking reasons for resentment is the slow, quiet realization that you have simply grown apart. The person you once shared everything with now feels like a stranger. This happens over years of routine and a lack of conscious effort to stay connected. The first sign is often the loss of meaningful conversation. You might discuss practical things, bills, errands, but the deeper connection, the curiosity about each other's inner worlds, has vanished. Margaret, 74, remembered when she and her husband would talk for hours. Now, when she tried to talk about her personal growth or interests, he barely listened. She was living with someone who no longer truly knew her. This emotional disconnect is profoundly painful. A woman mourns the marriage she once had. She remembers the man who used to make her laugh and care about her dreams. When that version of her husband is gone, she is left with someone who is physically present but emotionally absent. And that absence is what builds a deep and lasting resentment. As we conclude, it's important to understand that this feeling of resentment doesn't appear overnight. It is built over years of unspoken frustrations, unmet emotional needs, and the slow realization of no longer being seen, heard, or valued. But recognizing these patterns is the first, most powerful step. Resentment doesn't always mean the love is gone forever. It often means that something needs to change drastically. Your feelings are valid. You are not alone in this experience. The key is recognizing that you deserve to feel valued, appreciated, and emotionally connected in your relationship. You always have and you always will. This understanding is where the power to create a new path forward begins, whatever that path may look like for you. Thank you for joining me for this deeply personal and important conversation. I would be honored to hear from you. Which of these reasons resonated most with your own experience? If you feel comfortable, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your wisdom and stories are a source of strength for our entire community. If this video was helpful to you, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more content that supports women in every chapter of their lives. Thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.